start recording. Ano? So as you can see on the screen, so our topic is simplified metals trading. Actually, this topic has been discussed before SEM break or before our kumbaga holy break. Okay po. Pero for the purpose ng review at para continuity ng discussions, I will flash back and then I will highlight only those important discussions. So the first one is the simplified metal trading. So as you can see, our objective here is to, of course, describe the properties of metal, explain the differences between mild steel and high strength steel, analyze metal damage, and then describe the various tools and explain the basic procedures again, yung mga called shrinking and heat shrinking, describe the differences between open coat and closed coat abrasives. So, in fundamentals of metallurgy, so metal is a very crucial part ng body ng sasakyan. So, sabi nga natin, most body ng sasakyan is made up of metal. So, ang understanding lang natin is we must identify first what kind of metal is being present. Kung siya ba ay mild steel or high strength steel. Sabi natin, to straighten the damaged metal, we must first identify the classifications of a metal. So when a body panel is stamped in a press at the factory, of course, there are residual stresses which are left in the metal panel. So if you will observe several type of details, several variants, for example, Innova, although siya ay Toyota Innova, meron pa rin siyang iba't ibang variant as time goes by. And kung mapapansin nyo, in terms of body construction, so meron siyang variants. And then mapapansin nyo, meron siyang iba't ibang mga dent, may mga stresses, at saka may mga shapes. So in some parts, there are stresses which are so great that they can cause metal to stretch or strain. And then the stretch areas can often be identified by wavy lines in the metal. So in some cases, the lines look like similar to the branches of a tree. Ano? And then in some cases, yung mga lines or stresses dun sa mga body ng sasakyan ay parang minsan mukhang sinadya. Pero in somehow, they are formed in a certain shape na yun yung design niya. So stretch areas are commonly found on compound curves, inner panels, and various reinforcement. So ang tawag dun sa curvature of panel, yung tinatawag nating crown. And a low crown is a little curvature and structurally weak. So most roofs are low crown panels. So karamihan sa mga bubong ay kinoconsider siya as low crown panels. So pulling is always the best method for straightening metal parts. So ito yung pinaka-basic. Ano? So if there are dents and then merong crown or merong tawag yun, lubog, ang pinaka-common is yung pulling. Sa Tagalog, hila. Ano? So pulling is always the best method for straightening metal parts. So this is particularly true with low crown panels. And then for high crown panels, it is recommended to use a high degree of curvature and relatively strong. So fenders and door panels are often produced with both high and low crown areas. Kasi meron yung part na madaling unatin and then meron din naman mahirap unatin. So this combination of curves add strength to the panels. Inside or reverse crowns are areas where the manufacturer stretch the metal into complicated curves. So these areas have been very high stress concern considerations. So areas around tail lights, air vents, and some hood and fenders designs commonly have inside or reverse crowns. That's why, as you remember, tanda nyo ba yun, nung tayo ay nag-discuss about dun sa ating parts labeling ng body ng sakyan, we identified na merong mga uh, inside panel na necessary for the body construction. So when a body panel is damaged, there are additional stresses which are created in damaged area. So it is often necessary to release some of these stresses during the repair process. So in some application, it is commonly used to release stresses Kagaya nga ng sabi natin, kaya meron tayong application na heat shrinking. So, anytime that is heat is applied, such as kung gumagamit tayo ng mga torch or grinder, so to metal, oxidation, expansion, and structural changes can occur. So, commonly, when we use heat shrinking or heat process method, merong tawag indications such as color. So, color can often be used to roughly estimate the temperature of steel. So, steel will change to a blue color, okay, habang initin yung ah, bakal, kapag ka siya ay steel, it will change to a blue color if it's about 600 degree Fahrenheit to 300 or 316 degrees Celsius. Okay, the steel color will fade to a dull red naman kapag ka 900 degree Fahrenheit. So, ibig sabihin kung blue, medyo mababa-baba pa, and then pagka mas tumataas yung temperature, is go high from 315 degrees Celsius to 480, it goes to dull red. And then, if it has extreme care when utilizing heat to releases stresses. So, high strength alloy still loses strength when heated above 100 degree Fahrenheit. And then, mapapansin naman natin, kapag ang bakal iniinitan, lumulutong siya. Pagka siya ay, tawag doon siya ay lumalamig na. So, did you observe that during your welding and oxyacetylene subjects nung kayo ay second year? Second year pa pala kayo. Meron na ba kayong welding and oxyacetylene subject or ngayon nyo rin siya tinitake? Tapos na kayo last sem?
Nung last sem po ata yun.
Ayun. So, di ba na-observe nyo yung pagbabago sa property ng metals, lalo dun sa mga mild steel, na habang siya ay nainitan, lumulutong siya. Tama ba? Or hindi nyo na-experience?
Opo. Tama
Yes
po.
po.
Okay po. So, the property, so meron tayong iba't ibang property ng metal. Sinatawag natin the property that allows metal to be shaped. Yun yung tinatawag nating plasticity. Okay? So, pag sinabing plasticity, it is required if sheet metal is to be formed into fender, hoods, or other components. So, the use of force, such as compressive or tensile to change the shape, is called plastic deformation. And then yung pangalawa naman tinatawag nating malleability. Pag sinabing malleability, it is the property that allows metal deformation under compression. So deformation under compression is called upsetting. And then pag sinabi naman natin ductility, it is the property that permits metal deformation under tension. And deformation under tension is called stretching. Also, all materials have some degree of elasticity. Ibig sabihin, depende sa metals, yung kanyang permissibility ng sa elasticity. So, the term elasticity refers to a material's ability to be stretched and to return to its original shape. So, rubber has a good elasticity. So, yun yung example ng rubber. Although siya ay hinihigit mo na i-stretch siya, bumabalik pa rin siya sa kanyang shape. Pero kagaya ng elastiko, kahit siya ay stretchable or elastic, pag siya ay binanat mo pa rin ng binanat, hindi na siya bumabalik dun sa kanyang original shape. Ano? So rubber has a good elasticity when materials are stretched. It is at a certain point they will return to its original shape. So that is the what we call elastic limit. So yung elastic limit na tinatawag natin, so yun yung capacity ng isang materials na bumalik dun sa original shape kapag siya ay na-stretch. So ibig sabihin, although it is halimbawa rubber is elastic, meron pa rin siyang elastic limit na tinatawag. And then, whenever metal is stretched beyond its elastic limit, permanent stresses occur and the material takes a permanent set. Kaya nga, ang ating understanding na kapag ang isang metal ay na-deform natin to into a certain shape, mahirap na siyang unatin o kaya ibalik sa iba pang shape. If you will observe na kapag ang isang body panels ay na-form na into a certain shape, mahirap siyang i-form again to another panel na babaguhin mo yung pinaka-contour niya or shape. Okay po? May question po so far? So, whenever metal is stretched by beyond its elastic limit, permanent stresses occur and the material takes a permanent set. So, permanent stresses causes the metal to become stiffer and harder in the stretched areas. So, this is known as work hardening. Kaya nga, kapag ang isang bakal or isang materials ay na tawag doon, na form mo into a certain shape, medyo mahirap na siyang unatin o kaya medyo mahirap na siyang i- i-reform into another shape. So, if several sharp bends, such as stretches, are made in sheet metal, the material around the bends will become hard and brittle. Yun nga, sinasabi ko sa inyo na kapag ka siya ay ano na sa in certain shape, pagka siya ay unatin na o kaya ay medyo matigas na siya at saka medyo malutong na. Okay pa? So work hardening also occurs when damaged materials is straightened or stretched back into shape. So working metal without applying heat is called cold working. So when the material is not stretched beyond its elastic limit, that is elastic deformation. Okay po? And then next. So as you can see in figure 7-1, this panel will spring back into shape when the stresses are released. Yung next, tinatawag nating types of metal. So we identified na meron tayong tinatawag na mild steel low carbon. We also have the high strength low alloy steel or the HSLA. So in mild steel, ito yung ginagamit sa mga body, panels, and structural components. So this material is not affected by working, welding, and heat shrinking. As manufacturers strive to produce more fuel efficient, yan natin. Wala. Nilalangan. Okay, sabi natin, since HSLA is stronger than mild steel, so thinner, lighter section of this material can be produced and structurally, hindi ba yan? Botol, sorry. Ayan. Okay po, visible po. So, as manufacturers strive to produce more fuel-efficient vehicles, however, the use of stronger
Mag-quiz ka.
mag-quiz daw ako. Okay, so mild steel has been used to make body panels and structural components for many years. So, as manufacturers strive to produce more fuel-efficient vehicles, however, the use of stronger, lighter materials continues to grow. So, in some areas, composite plastics and aluminum and high-strength steels are commonly used in construction of the modern auto body. So, in today's body, as you can see, naging light na yung body construction natin. Ano? So, bakit siya naging light? Anyone? Hoy, hindi porket ako nagdi-discuss, hindi na kayo sasagot. So, bakit naging light yung body construction ngayon? Nandiyan na, binasa ko na. Because nowadays, body panels are made of wool. Parang kailangan ko pang mag-roll call. Kiyon, Alejandro.
Yes, sir.
Bakit naging light yung body construction ngayon?
Dahil ano po, mas magaan na po yung mga metal na ginamit.
Okay, aside from that, anyone? Aside from nowadays, they are using light steel.
Gumagamit na din po ng composite plastics.
Yes, very good, God, Ronan. Ano? Nandiyan naman, hindi, altang yung iba lang din nakikinig. So nowadays kasi we are using composite plastics, ano, as what Ronan stated and Theon. Also aluminum and high strength steels which are tawag doon, light in construction or light in weight. Ano? So which are commonly used in construction of the modern automotive body. So the use of these materials had been tremendous impact on auto body repair techniques. So since since ngayon ang challenge ay nag-iiba-iba na yung composite materials or yung metal composition ng body, that's why marami na rin tayong technology in the repair. Ano? Diba? Kaya ngayon uso na yung mga MIG, TIG, metal inert gas application, tungsten inert gas. So not unlike before na ang alam lang natin pag sinabing body repair, pag sinabing welding ay SMAW, di ba? Mga ganun, GMAW. So pero ngayon may mga tig na MIG, not unlike before. Ano? And then the next one yung HSLA. So pag sinabi nating HSLA, that is high strength low alloy steel. So, it is a replacement na tinatawag nating mild steel. Ano? It is the replacement of mild steel. Wait lang, I don't know kung bakit ito naputol. Ayun. So, high strength low alloy steel, it is a replacement of mild steel for many exterior body panel applications. So, ang HSLA ay ginagamit for structural components such as the front and rear rails, rocker panels, door hinges, pillars, and other reinforcements. On our next face-to-face, we will continue our parts identifications, and then also, I'm expecting na nasa body painting na kayo sa activity. Na-perform niyo po ba? Nasaan na kayo?
Sa amin po, hindi pa.
Nasaan na kayo? Body filing?
Opo.
Okay po. So, at least may progress dapat. Ano? So, HSLA has 2-3 times the yield strength of mild steel. And yield strength is the stress required to produce a certain amount of permanent strain elongation in a piece of steel. So, since HSLA is stronger than mild steel, okay, thinner, lighter section of this material can be used to produce a structurally sound vehicle. So, not unlike before, mga ginagamit yung mga heavy, alloy steel. So, unfortunately, yung mga HSLA is more brittle than mild steel. Yun nga lang, they are more brittle than mild steel. Instead of stretching or deforming smoothly, it tends to kink and crack. So, syempre, meron din siyang disadvantages. Next, yung tawag nating HSS. Okay, HSS. It includes a number of different types of high tensile strength steels. Okay, pag sinabing HSS, high strength steels. So this tensile strength is the metal's ability to withstand being pulled apart. So HSS is often used for suspension components. So ginagamit naman siya for suspension components. So saan pa? Door side guards and bumper reinforcements. So ultra high strength steels or the UHSS may have a tensile strength that is almost 10 times that of a mild steel. So, syempre, from the word itself, mild steel and high strength. So, mas matigas ang high strength. So, UHSS is used for door beams. Sa naman, bumper reinforcement, hinges, ang tagal sa hinges, bisagra, and other structural components. So, internal stress is high in high strength steels are commonly relieved by applying a pulling force or by spring hammering. So, pwedeng pukpukin lang yung martilyo with a dali, So spring hammering is a process that involves lightly striking the ridge of a dent with a bumping hammer while holding a spoon firmly against the back of the damaged area. Can be used with the hammer and dolly or hammer and body spoon. So the pressure and rebound energy from the spoon helps to straighten the dent, and the vibrations from the light hammer blows help to relieve pressure by hanging the molecular structure of the metal. So as previously mentioned, heat causes high-strength steel to lose their strength. Okay po? Kaya kapag ang metal ay exposed to a certain heat, nagiging brittle siya. Diba? During your welding and oxyacetylene subject, mapapansin nyo na kapag ang isang metal ay niwe-weldingan, ano nangyayari? Lumulutong yung bakal. Okay? So if high strength steel HSLA and HSS must be heated, use a carburizing flame and do not heat the metal to temperature above 100 degree Fahrenheit or 520 degrees Celsius. Excessive pounding or working will wait lang, cause high strength steel to become brittle and crack. And then ultra high strength steels must never be welded or heated, and damaged UHSS should be replaced. Okay? Next, yung tinatawag natin metal damage. So far, may question po kayo sa types of metal? Question? Wala pong question? Hello? Okay po. So, you can, you can give your opinions on my discussions para mas maging comprehensive yung ating discussions. Para hindi magmukhang monotonous yung discussion. Ano? You can raise hands and you can ask for permission to speak so that you can give your opinion. Okay? Para hindi naman monotonous yung ating discussion. Baka yung iba ay natutulog na naman. Join na lang. Okay? Next, yung tinatawag nating metal damage. So, kapag when we speak with body, automotive body, we always come up with the term na sira or damage. Pero commonly, pumapasok agad sa ating isipan yung tawag natin dent. Pero actually, dent is only one type of metal damage or body damage. So the term kink and bend are sometimes misused when referring to auto body damage. So ano ba yung kink and bend na sinasabi? So when we say bend, it is any change in part from its original shape. Okay. Basically, kung pag-uusapan ang bend, hindi para siyang bakal. Ano? 'Di ba pag may tuwid na bakal, niliko mo, yun yung ating connotation ng bend. Ano? So when a bend is straightened, there will be no permanent deformation in the damaged area. So when we say kink naman, a kink on the other hand is a bend of more than 90 degree in a distance of less than 3 mm. So yan. Kapag ang bend ay more than 90 degree, ang tawag na ay kink. After straightening a kink, there will be permanent metal deformation. So cracks and tears commonly occur when straightened kink areas. If a structural component is kinked, it should be replaced. Okay? Next. So, sabi dyan, when a metal is bent into a sharp ridge, the outer surface of the ridge is stretched and the inner surface of the ridge is upset. Stretched areas are lengthened and upset areas are shortened. So to remove the damage, force must be applied at the bent area as you can see in figure 7-2. So this is the bend area, okay, A and B. So simply, you can apply pulling on the ends of a sharp will not remove the damage. Letter B, force must be applied at the bend area to remove the ridge. Okay, napakasimple lang naman. Ano? Okay, next. Types of damage. Okay. Okay, sige Nico. Pakibasa. Types of damage. Nico.
Of damage. Before beginning any repair procedure, it is essential to analyze the damage area. Damage will fall into two or more of the following categories: direct damage, indirect damage, minor damage, major.
Okay, thank you. So the first one is the direct damage. So when we say direct damage, it is the result of direct contact with an object. So an example of direct damage is holes, tears, gouges, and scratches, which are typical example of direct damage. So generally, only about 10% of a collision damage is can be considered as direct damage. So actually, yung mga direct damage, yung mga direktang gas-gas, direktang tawag doon na ano doon sa halimbawa, binangga ka, ano, direct damage yun. Ano. When we say indirect damage naman, it is the result of direct damage. So, ibig sabihin, binangga ka, tapos nayupi, tapos lumiko yung kabilang panel. So, yung isang panel pa na nayupi, indirect damage siya dun sa isa pang panel na nayupi. Ano? So, indirect damage is the result of direct damage. So, medyo, so when an impact causes a hole in a panel, which is what we call the direct damage, it buckles in the other areas of the panel generally occur. So, these buckles, which is the pressure ridges, are typical examples of indirect damage. So, for example, a front-end collision may result a direct damage to the front of the vehicle, but indirect damage may occur in the underbody and the rear panels, which is about 90% of the collision damage is indirect damage. Meaning, mas malaki pa minsan yung indirect damage kaysa direct damage base dun sa pagka nagkaroon ng isang collision. Okay pa? Naintindihan po yung direct at saka indirect damage. Okay po. Thank you for the response. Ilan lang yung nagre-response ha. Baka yung iba'y tulog na. Okay, next we have the minor damage and major damage. So, napakadali na maintindihan from the word itself, minor and major. So, when we say minor, it involves repairs that requires relatively little time and skill to complete. Therefore, the cost of repairing minor damage is generally low. At the same time, if the damage is minor, it is highly suggested na yung body is i-repair. Commonly, kapag ang damage ay major damage, hindi na siya sinasuggest na i-repair. Okay po? Practically, mas okay pa siya na palitan yung panel na na-damage kapag major damage na yun. Ano kasi uso na ngayon yung mga nabibili, diba kagaya ng halimbawa bumper. Diba pagka nabangga yung bumper, anong ginagawa natin instead na ipa-repair? Pinapalitan na lang ng isang set. Dahil practically, unang-una, hindi mo na ibababad ang sasakyan mo sa talyer o kaya sa kasa ng ilang araw o ilang linggo para lang ma-repair. Instead, bili ka lang nung isang set na yon, palitan lang, in 10 to 15 minutes, okay na siya. Practically. So, a simple dent in the door panel of a late model vehicle is considered minor damage. Of course, pagka naman major damage, from the word itself, it requires more time, of course. At the same time, more equipment, and skill to repair than minor damage. Sometimes nga lang, hindi natin maiwasan na mag-undergo tayo ng major damage if anong conditions? What are the conditions? Kung bakit minsan ay kailangan pa rin na mag-undergo ng major damage. Ano yung conditions? Matira. Tanong ko nga. Ken? Matira.
Ano sir?
Ken? Ano yung condition para ang isang customer ay mag-undergo ng major damage repair? Ilagay mo. Kapag anong condition? Anyone? Anyone?
Ano yun sir? Ano yun sir?
Sabi natin, it is practically na kapag we encountered major damage, we replace the components to being repaired instead of repairing. Pero in some cases, major damage, repair or repair is highly suggested. So when is the condition that it happened? Kailan yung major damage repair ay ginagawa pa rin? Kailan?
Kapag ano sir?
Kapag gipit, sir.
Kapag gipit? Ha? Hindi. Ano pa? Yes,
Pag
Tio?
repairable sa mundo.
Pag repairable? Aha. Ano pa?
Kapag may ano po, mekaniko kayang gumawa ng gano'n sira.
Okay. Pagka may mekanikong sira. Yes, Aaron Suboy.
Sir, pag covered ng insurance.
Pwede pag covered na insurance. Ano pa? Practically, kailan lang siya ginagawa? Kapag hindi available yung
Hindi available
Yung
po yung
replacement
parts.
sir, pag hindi available.
okay, very good. Kapag hindi available ang replacement, that is the only practical reason. So, we conduct major damage repair if the replacement is not available. So, yun lang ang pinaka-basic reason nun. Kasi minsan, di ba, kapag ang major damage ay walang pyesa, walang di kailangan i-repair. At the same time, ano pa? Wala na akong maisip na dahilan. Major damage repair ay ginagawa rin kung yun lang yung paraan kung paano siya mare-repair. Kasi halimbawa, walang replacement ng components, walang replacement ng parts, walang replacement ng system. So that's why kailangan mag-repair ka na. Diba parang halimbawa, may nabanggang kotse. Dumating yung buong unit, totally wreck. Pero okay pa yung makina. Di ba anong gagawin? Kukunin lang yung makina, tapos ilalagay dun sa bagong body. Practically. Para mas okay. Kaysa dun sa, i-repair mo pa yung body na nabangga, tapos, so, hindi na siya highly suggested. So, in that case, that is yung major replacement or major repair. So, in that case, sometimes naman, pag walang available na body, di yun, saka lang, pine-permit ang major, kasi kung in terms of costing, labor, tsaka time, mas kakain ng oras. So, sabi, repairing major damage generally involves replacing body panels and straightening structural parts. If the damage is extremely severe, a decision must be made to determine if the repair is warranted. As what Mr. Aaron stated earlier, na yun nga, kapag sakop ng insurance, so minsan pagka insurance ay requirements is to repair, hindi replacement. Tama rin naman. If the repair estimate exceeds the replacement value of the vehicle, similar make or year, the repair may not be made also. Okay? Next. Questions po? May question sa minor and major damage?
Wala
Next.
po.
Okay, thank you for your response. Next is assessing the damage. So actually, ito ay work ng mga tawag din ng mga service advisor or ating mga warranty inspector. Ano? So the automotive body technician must carefully assess all damage before attempting to make repairs. Practically, we will see kung makakatipid ba siyang i-repair or i-replace. So it is important to know how the vehicle is constructed in order to determine the correct repair procedures. Carefully, so you must inspect and measure the vehicle to determine if the damage is restricted to the body panels and check for both direct and indirect damage. So actually, a metal ruler can be used to help determine the extent of the panel damage. So, syempre, pagka tayo ay pupunta sa isang repair shop, laging ang titingnan is how many panels are involved and then gaano kahaba yung damage. So, practically, mas mura kung sa isang panel lang siya ah, involved. Pero ang nangyari, kung halimbawa, from panel 1 to panel 2 to panel 3 ang naging involved, so, nangyayari, ang computations ng damage ay para dun sa tatlong panel. So, a metal ruler can be used to help determine the extent of panel damage. So, you must hold uh, the ruler against the damaged panel to observe its reflection in the frame. So, the ruler's reflection will be distorted in the damaged areas, as shown in figure 7-3. Okay? Yeah. The reflection of a straight edge in the damaged panel can be used to detect irregularities, waves, or dents. So, basically, through our senses naman, makikita naman natin kung meron siyang dent or not. And then, carefully, we study the damaged area to locate the point of impact. So this will help you determine the best procedure to follow when removing the damage. So if the wrong procedure is used, additional work will often be required to complete the straightening operation. So the wrong repair procedure can actually cause further damage. For para dun sa mga newbie drivers, 'di ba? Yung mga newbie drivers kagaya ko ano. So, anong nangyayari, for example, meron akong scratches or dent. So, hinihintay ko muna na magsabay-sabay na. Kagaya ngayon, naka-schedule yung aking kotse. Siguro by December, na pagsasabay-sabayan ko na yung dent repair. Ano, tsaka yung mga scratches. Kasi kapag mga newbie drivers, prone sila dun sa mga gas-gas, dun sa wrong turning. Pero by and by, as you have explore your experience, nagagamay mo na yung pag-ano ng sasakyan mo. And then, if you're more confident enough na, so siguro pwede mo na practically magsabay-sabayin yung scratches repair mo, dent repair. Ano? So, yung sa akin, naka-schedule December. So, to keep straightening work to a minimum, damage should be removed in reverse order. So, the damage that appears last should be removed first. So, damage does not appear instantaneously, but progresses from the moment of impact until the vehicle comes to rest. So, after the initial contact, which is the direct damage, the damage spreads in a series of ridges or the indirect damage. So, these ridges become deeper and more sharply bent as they spread from the point of initial contact. Okay pa? Naintindihan? Or did I need to elaborate more? Questions? Okay, next. So the technician must study the damage to determine whether the panel was struck first and which ridges were formed last. Okay, so syempre pagka dinala mo siya sa kasa, sa repair shop, titingnan ng repair technician kung ano yung may damage, aling panel. And then from that on, titingnan niya kung kailangan ba siyang tanggalin or kahit nandun siya nakaano ay pwede na i-repair. So as the ridges are removed, the metal that is merely flexed, the examination out piston will spring back into place. So the simplest form of damage occurs when a part is struck by a direct blow. The damage illustrated as shown in figure 7-4. Ito yung example. So as you can see, meron tayong A, B, C, D point. So it is the simplest dent which is made when a panel struck by a direct blow. So maaaring pinukpok, maaaring sadsad sa isang bato. So the simplest form damage occur when a part is struck by direct blow as illustrated in 7-4. So the force of impact was centered at point B and the deepest ridge is at A. Yeah. The centered is letter B and the deepest is letter A. So the centered letter B. Ano? So note that the ridge at A is the farthest from B and should be removed first. As the ridge is removed, the entire damage will tend to spring back into place. If, on the other hand, the technician works on area B, first the ridge at A will not spring out. So the crease C to D, yung C to D, is not a ridge and therefore will reflex back into shape when A is removed. Remember that the straightening process should start at the farthest edge of the damage, not at the center. Okay po? Nakuha? Alin daw ang unang i-repair sa point A, B, C, D, and E? Kung nakinig?
Yun pong pinakamalalim.
Yes, point. Ano?
Point A.
Yes, very good, Kiyon. Si Kiyon lang ang nakikinig. Yung iba hindi nagko-comment. Sige, Naljer, nonote ko mamaya. Late ka. Okay, so in this case, you will start with point A going to B. Okay po? Kasi pag na-repair mo yung A going to B, automatic yung C and D sasama na siya. Nakuha po? Okay, Aaron, sige, mamaya ako mag-attendance ulit. Okay. So the most complicated damage results when a vehicle is struck by a series of blows that superimpose one of the set of wrinkles and dent on the other. So, kaya yung iba, kita ko during the activity, basta lang kayo napukpok ng dent. So, which is wrong. So, kita ko dun during the activity, yung iba basta lang pumupukpok ng dent, which is wrong. So, dapat you started with the largest or the farthest, yung point A going to point B. Okay po? Yung iba, wala na ring direction kung ano lang mapukpok basta mauna. So, systematically, when we perform body repair, so meron din dapat tayong sistema. Para din lang yung pagkakalas, kabit ng gulong. Di ba pag nagkakalas, kabit din tayo ng gulong, hindi lang yung basta kalas, kabit ng tornilyo. Hindi yung maisipan mo ay, yun yung tatanggalin mo. Dapat criss-cross din, para uniform yung pagtanggal ng tornilyo. At the same time, ganun din sa tire rotation, dapat criss-cross din. Pero depende pa rin yun dun sa tire arrangement. Okay ba? Questions po? So far? Wala. Okay, so next yung tinatawag nating basic straightening techniques. Actually, ito naman ay na-discuss ko na rin ng last meeting. Balikan lang uli natin. Basic straightening techniques. So there are number of techniques when repairing body damage as what we have mentioned earlier. So we have the manual and mechanical repair. So when we say manual repair, yun yung gumagamit tayo ng hammer and dolly, hammer and body spoon, and other applications which intervene the applications of the manual applications. On the other hand, when we say mechanical, edi syempre gumagamit din tayo ng mga equipment. O kaya gumagamit din tayo ng mga heating techniques. So the technique or combination of techniques utilized will depend largely on the age of damaged vehicle, the location of the damage, and the wishes of the customer. So, syempre, pag gusto ng customer mabilisan, so kailangan mag-mechanical ka na, mag-heat shrinking ka na, So a customer with a new car may insist on the most expensive repair techniques, okay? Yung mga technology. During way back 2016, 2013, nung dati ang mga ginagawa ko sa mga estudyante ko, lalo sa body repair and painting, nung ako nasa Rosario pa, we joined dun sa mga yung mga body repair competitions. Nanonood kami. Kagaya dito sa may Batangas City Honda. Meron dyan sila na yearly, meron silang skills competitions ng mga body repair. Pinapapanood ko dun yung mga eskwela ko. And then nakikita nila yung iba't ibang skills ng mga company at the same time yung mga techniques kung paano mapapabilis yung repair. So in the span of 1 hour tapos sila the span of 1 hour tapos yung body repair na halimbawa sa mga pintuan. So a customer with a new car may insist on the most expensive repair techniques or the available technology dun sa isang area or sa company. So owners of older automobiles or vehicles being reconditioned for sale often request the most inexpensive techniques. So syempre kung medyo gipit naman, hindi doon ka sa manual or conventional way of repair techniques. So other than that, yung wala ka naman minsan choice kung wala namang available resources at the same time, wala ka rin pambayad. So some damage is difficult to access and requires special repair techniques. So syempre, depende rin sa availability dun sa area kung paano mare-repair. So these techniques are generally time-consuming and therefore greatly increase repair costs. At the same time, I also believe na yung mga repair technician ay talagang skills siya. Kasi hindi ka naman basta makakapag-repair. Although, tayo, in our laboratory subject, ko kayo, yung patawag doon, pinagpe-perform ko kayo ng mga ganyang repair. So, medyo hilaw pa siya. Pagdating kasi sa company, talagang kailangan pulido. Pulido yung gawa. Una, kailangan pulido yung materials. Pangalawa, pulido yung tools and equipment na gagamitin. Pangatlo, kailangan specific yung procedures. Sa atin, sa automotive shop natin, sa laboratory, although I'll give you the step-by-step procedures kung paano siya gagawin, medyo hilaw pa tayo kasi kulang tayo sa gamit talaga. At saka exposure. So before slating procedures are started, dirt, wax, grease, and undercoating should be removed from the damaged area. So yun yung pinakaunang gagawin. Lilinisin. Okay. Tatanggalin yung mga dumi, wax, grease, at saka undercoating dun sa na-damaged na area. So, again, pinapanood ko kayo ng activity, yung iba, hindi pa nalinis, hindi pa napunasan, hindi pa natanggal yung mga undercoat, diretso pukpukan na agad. Pukpuk. Tapos, walang direction ang pukpuk. Kaya anong nangyari, yung direct damage na meron ay mas dumami pa. Okay, so remember, kapag mali ang procedures, instead na maayos, mas lalong lumalaki ang problema. Diba? Kaya nga, maraming aksidente yung, alimbawa, bigyan namin na aksidente sa gitna ng kalsada. Di ba marami ang hindi ginagalaw yung na-aksidente. Bakit? Kasi kapag ginalaw mo yan, baka maaring mas mamatay, mas lumaki yung damage, or magkaroon ng fatality yung na-aksidente. Okay? So sa atin, same. Sa atin, sa repair. Okay, sa repair, same. Kapag mali ang procedures, lalaki yung damage. Pag mali yung procedures, hindi mo na ayos, mas lalong lumaki yung scratches or dent. So dirt and wax will quickly dull on abrasive disc. Kaya kailangan tanggalin muna yung mga pintura at saka yung mga wax. So undercoating interferes with hammer and dolly work. Okay? So yan, dapat tinatanggal muna yung mga pintura at saka ang mga wax. Kasi undercoating interferes with hammer and dolly work. Okay po? So, although yung iba nag-umpisa ng activity nila, di pwede nyo naman siyang itama sa susunod na pagkakataon. So, heat is sometimes used to aid in removal of undercoating. So far, did you understand the procedures? Can you follow? Okay, Okay, thank you for the response. Si Kiyon lang, si Darwin. Okay, thank you po. So, there are several tools and techniques used to straighten metal in the body shop. So, pwede kayong gumamit. Yan. Ito naman, napakita ko na sa mga video presentation natin ng last meeting. Yung paggamit ng vacuum cup. Una. You can also use what we call pullers, pull rods, slide hammers, pull tabs, picks, bumping spoon, power rams, hammer, dollies. Next, we have the hammers and files and the combination thereof. So, pwedeng combination ng mga nasabi kong tools. So, shown in figure 7-5, when a car rolls over, a complicated series of dent is formed. So, when a metal is stretched, various shrinking techniques can be used to return to its original size and shape. So, filing is an important part of body repair which is covered on Chapter 8. And the next, ito na, yung mga paggamit, vacuum cup pullers, pull rods, okay? So, when using vacuum cup pullers, if a metal panel has not been bent beyond its elastic limit, a vacuum cup puller can often be used to remove the damage. Kapag yung mga medyo light pa lang. The surface of the damaged panel must be clean, and the puller's vacuum cup should be wet to assure the best vacuum grip on the damaged surface. The puller is simply attached to the lowest portion of the dented area. A steady pull on the tool should cause the metal to pop into its original position. Vacuum cup pullers are not effective if the damaged areas has been buckled or kinked. Additionally, this procedure will not work on high or reverse crown surfaces. Again, ginagamit lang siya sa mga light crown surfaces. Okay po? Next, pull rods and slide hammer is almost the same with vacuum cup pullers. When removing ridges and creases from auto body panels, a considerable amount of time is often spent removing interior trim and upholstery to press the back of the panel. The use of pull rods eliminates the need to remove upholstery and pull rods. Next, yung ating mga slide hammer. Same. Ito mga napakita ko na naman sa inyo ng last meeting, yung video. And then we have the pull tabs as shown in figure 7-8. Ito, pulling force on the pull using a hammer is used to reach the back. Ayan. Ino-hook dun sa hose. Next, ito naman yung paggamit ng pulling force to remove damage. Yan. Pulling force, nihigit. 7-8, yan. We are attaching pull tabs to a damaged area. And then 7-9, ito naman. This technician is using slide hammer to pull out damaged area. Yan. The next, after the pull tabs are twisted off, the repair is ground smooth. So yan, pag nahigit na ng slide hammer, ginagrinder na yung residue sa ibabaw ng mga panel. Next. So, you can also use the pick tool to remove dent from a door panel. Yan. Using pick tool. Okay. Next, you can also use the what we call body spoons as shown in figure 7-12. Yan. One method of using spoon is a pry bar. It can also be used as a dali in a restricted area. So actually, ang body spoon ay kagaya ng dali kontra sa hammer. Okay pa? Next. This is the illustration of spoon is being used to straighten a panel in the area that is not accessible with a dali. Yan. The spoon is inserted and then outer panel, inner panel, and yan. Para ito ay makontra. Next. Power rams. Okay. This is an example of application of power ram. A power ram is being used in a simple pushing operation as you can see on the figure. Actually, ito mga to parang napapanood ko na sa inyo ng last meeting. Ano? Next. Another example is the typical spread ram application. Yeah. Next, we have using a power ram to correct damage of a roof panel. Yan. Inuuna. Next, we have the hammer and dollies. So, ito yung ating example na figure. The dolly is held on one side of the panel where it acts on an anvil and the opposite of the panel is struck with the hammer. Okay? So, this is the simplified figure for the arc of dolly block should coincide with the contour of the body panel. So, yung surface na ito yung nag-identify kung anong uri ng dolly ang ating gagamitin. Kasi nga, as you remember on our previous meeting, di ba meron tayong iba't ibang uri ng dolly. Okay, merong palapad, merong pakontour, depende dun sa surface na ating pupukpukin. Okay po? Can you follow? Hello? Questions? None. Okay, so ito naman, the curved face of the hammer on a concave surface to avoid making small dents and nicks in the surface. Ito, yung sinasabi natin, the simplest form of ding work with the hammer and dolly. Okay, the dolly must be held firmly against the surface of the metal. Okay, ito yung example, figure 7-22. Meron tayong damage, and then ito yung ating dolly, kokontra para mapukpok natin ng ayos. On the dolly dinging, the dolly is held directly under the area being stuck by the hammer para tumuwid at kontra nitong dolly para siya ay hindi mag-over yung pagkapukpok. Okay po? Nakuha po? Nakuha? Okay. Thank you, Darwin, for the response. Okay. So, files and pick-commerce. Also, we have the dolly dinging. Yan. Baligtad naman. Yung kanina, yung damage na sa labas, ito naman yung damage na sa loob. Ang tawag naman dito, off dolly dinging. Okay? Pupukpukin sa labas, paloob. Yung isa naman, paloob, labas, paloob. On the dolly dinging. Ito naman, labas, paloob. Yung isa kanina, loob, labas paloob. Ito naman, loob palabas. Okay? The dolly is held directly under the bend, but the hammer blows are directed against the edge of the bend. So, any of the two can be used depending on your preference. At the same time, dun sa palagay nyo, mas magiging okay yung repair. Pero para sa akin on my part, mas okay yung on the dolly dinging. Okay po? On my preference. Okay? So when using a body file, it should be pushed diagonally across the work surface. Actually, ito namang principle na to, na-discuss na natin yung subject nyo ng sheet metal, yung paggamit ng files. When using a body file, should be pushed diagonally across work surface. Okay? Next, using a pick hammer to remove small dents is also used. Okay, next, hindi ang tawag nating shrinking. Meron tayong cold shrinking. So far, questions. Walang questions. Pwede, gusto nyo mag-break muna kahit 15 minutes?
Opo.
Okay, so let's have 15 minutes break. Ako napagod eh. Okay po. Pause ko muna yung recording. Discussion. So, oh no, microphone isn't working. Why? Hello po. Ayaw gumana. Why? Hello po. Okay. So, basically from the video presentations, na-explain naman kung ano yung nangyayari pag iniinitan natin yung part ng ating body. So, nagkakaroon ng shrinking. So, kapag malaki yung heat na in-applied, so malaki din yung shrinking na nangyayari. And then, dun sa nainitan na part, dun na natin ipinapasok yung application ng hammering. Ano? Okay po. So, let us continue. Okay. So, next. Okay. So, dun sa video presentation din, explain yan. Ala, nawala na naman. Okay, dun sa video presentations, pinakita dyan yung pattern na yan. Yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dot na yan. So when heat shrinking metal hit a spot at the center, yung labeled one of the badge and continue as shown by the number spots. Yan. So circulate ang pagpukpok, circular motion para uniform. Okay po? So na-explain naman yan ano kung bakit ginagawa. And then next we have paintless dent removal. So, paintless dent removal involves the use of specially designed picks and spoon to remove minor dents. So, this method is often used to remove minor dings from doors in fenders as well as hail damage. So, it is less costly than other techniques and results in quality job with no concern for matching paint. So most dents are accessible through inner panels. In some cases, however, small holes must be drilled in the edge of doors or other inner panels to access the dents. So these holes are then plugged after the work is complete. So it may take more than 50 pressure pries to properly raise a dent. So the technician must use light reflection to raise a dent. So the technician must use light reflection to aid the progress of each pry. So if the repair is completed properly, no sanding, filing, or refinishing is needed. So the area is simply cleaned and polished, and this process is labor intensive and charges usually made by dent. So a dent the size of quarter may take 20 to 30 minutes to remove, and the technician may charge $30 to $40 per hour. So in America, ano? So next, yung tinatawag nating sanding metal surfaces. So kailan ginagawa ang sanding on metal surfaces? After a damaged area has been returned to its correct shape, so it must be cleaned and sanded to ensure that the filers and primers will adhere properly. Ito na yung sunod. Ano, after ng repair, edi tayo lilinisin natin yung surface for preparation for filing and initial coat. So a desander is commonly used to remove small pits, scratches, and hammer marks before filers or primers are applied. So the sander can also be used to feather the surrounding surfaces so that they will blend with the repaired area. Next, so we must also choose the correct abrasive. So the quality of the final finish is largely dependent on the proper selection and use of abrasive. So, yung talas. Ano? So, the correct use of abrasive also minimizes finishing time. So, the term coated abrasive refers to most abrasive used for automobile refinishing. Although there are many types of coated abrasives, all consist of a combination of abrasive grains, backing materials, and bonding agents. So, typical examples of coated abrasives include sandpaper, yung alam na alam natin, ano, yung liha, waterproof paper. Of course, we also have the grinding disc, grinding combs, and grinding belts. Okay po? Can you follow? So, aluminum oxide and silicon carbide abrasives are commonly used in automotive body shop. Some authorities recommend silicon carbide, such as black color, for finishing primer surfacer coats. These abrasive crystals fracture during use and continually provide a sharp cutting edge. Aluminum oxide, which is reddish brown color, on the other hand, is extremely tough. So it is highly resistant to fracturing and capable of penetrating hard surfaces without damage. So because of these properties, aluminum oxide is often preferred for metal finishing. So although the term sandpaper is frequently used when referring to abrasive, it is not entirely accurate. So sand is no longer used as an abrasive grain. So the two products most frequently used for bonding abrasive is the backing materials, which is glue and resin, and organic glue is used to bond aluminum oxide grains to non-waterproof backing materials. So resin naman is used to bond silicon carbide to waterproof backing material. Good abrasives are less resistant to frictional heat. The resist bonded abrasive paper, cloth, screen, and fiber are commonly used as backing material. Okay, next we have abrasive surface types. So sabi natin, abrasives are manufactured in two surface type. We have open coat and closed coat. So the abrasive grains on open coat are widely separated. There is a noticeable between individual particles. The backing materials is only 60% and 70% is the abrasive grains. So open coat abrasive ranges from number 16 to number 300 grit. Number 16 grit, ito yung example ng open coat abrasive and closed coat abrasive. Ito yung ating various abrasive grit sizes. Kaya nag-iiba-iba yung talas niya. Depende sa grit. Abrasive cores, heavy grains, and higher grade abrasive have finer grains, as shown in 7-31. Ito yun, ano? Okay, choosing the proper grade. So, syempre, depende sa applications. Kapag ka merong deep scratches o kaya mga debris o kaya mga tawag ng residue sa ibabaw, syempre, mas matalas dapat yung gamitin. Okay, this sander is used for virtually types of sanding. So, gumagamit din tayo lalo na kapag ka ang surfaces ay merong pinag-weldingan. Ano, kasi hindi applicable na lilihain mo kung ang tatanggalin mo ay yung pinag-weldingan. Ano? Okay? 7-33, after considerable use, the outer edge of the abrasive disc can be cut off and reminder of the disc can be installed or smaller pads kasi pwede rin siyang tumalsik pagka improperly placed. Okay po? So, that ends this chapter. Questions po? Questions? None? So, we will now proceed with simplified metal repairs. Okay. So, under this, we will differentiate between spot putties, glazing putties, and body filers. So, we will also describe the proper filing techniques used to repair various damage, identify the safety precautions, evaluate various types, and cite several advances that made in area of collision repair. So, there are several types of filer materials. Okay? So, nandito na tayo sa sunod. After ng repair, finishing na. So, the first part is the application of filer or pagmamasilya. So, before applying primer to a panel, all imperfections should be removed. Although a metal straightening techniques are used to remove most of damage, it is uh, it is generally necessary to fill lost spots or other small flaws. So it is virtually impossible to eliminate all dents, hits, and hammer marks without utilizing filer materials. So the three basic filer materials are the following. We have the spot patties, glazing patties, and body filers. Note, there are several chemicals used during filing operation can damage automotive finishes. Additionally, A great deal of dust is created when sanding filer materials. Therefore, it is advisable to cover a mass surrounding areas. So a sheet of plastic can be used to protect vinyl tops, interiors, and engine compartments. So, para mas malinaw natin na maintindihan yung i-discuss ko pa, I will show you a video presentation. So, I will post muna ulit the recording. Quite imminent na yung discussions about filler materials. Sir, nawalan daw po ng wifi si Darwin. Okay po. So, first yung spot patty. So, when repairing small, shallow imperfections on paint films and primers, spot patties are often used. So, para mas maintindihan natin yung last video presentations, pinakita doon yung iba't ibang body filer, depende sa applications. So, spot patty, yung kalimitan yung primer patty natin, ano? With shallow imperfections in paint films and primer, spot patties are often used. So spot patties from the word itself are generally made of the same basic materials as primer surfacers, but have a high concentration of solid 90%. So these patties have the consistency of toothpaste, and some manufacturers recommend one type of spot patty for lacquers and another type for enamels. So spot patty should be applied with a patty knife, and two or more thin coats or patty are better than one thick coat. So after the solvent in the patty evaporate, thick layers tend to shrink more than dense layer, and this may cause cracking, separation, and poor adhesion. So most spot patties cure harden in approximately 30 minutes. Kaya meron tayong curing time. And then after the patty is dry, it can be sanded, primed, and painted with a color top coat. So because spot patties are solvent-based, solvents in the top coat may cause the patty to soften, and this can cause stains in the top coat. Next, yung isa naman, yung glazing patty. So the glazing patty from the word itself is sometimes used to distinguish between polyester or epoxy resin based patties and solvent based patties. Dun sa video presentation, pinakita yung differences ng mga patties na yan. And then, glazing patties must be thoroughly mixed with a hardener before being applied. So, a patty knife is used to apply these patties over the small imperfections. Sa atin sa Philippines, yung common na hardener, yung color red. Pero dun sa video presentation, merong color blue. Ano? Yung hardener. And most glazing patties will cure in about 30 minutes. After the patty has been hardened, it can be sanded and finished again. So in many applications, glazing patties are preferred to as spot patties because they do not bleed, lift, or soften when top coats are applied. Glazing patties contains 80% solids. Next, body filer. So body filing techniques have always been used in the automotive repair industry. So when we say body filer or spot patty, they are commonly used in areas where dents are difficult to remove, such as in sections that are impossible to reach with a hammer, spoon, or dolly. So even when pull rods are used, some filing may be used. Nevertheless, body filer should only be used when warranted. Filing should not be substitute for professional metal working processes. Filers are often misused by technicians with little regards to professional reputation or first-rate work. And then, a damaged area must be cleaned before bare metal, any type of filer. See figure 8-1. If necessary, an octagonal disc can be used to remove paint. So, on figure 8-1, before applying plastic filer to a car body, the damaged car should be cleaned to bare metal. So, solid filers. When we say solid filers, this is an alloy of tin and lead, and solder alloys containing 7% lead were originally used for body repair. So, consequently, the terms lead and leading have associated with disk filer. Okay? So, yung pangmasilya natin, yung mga pati. And then, pag sinabi naman nating body filer, can be solder filers or body filers or plastic filers. Solder filers is an alloy of tin and lead, and solder alloys containing 70% lead were originally used for auto body repair. Consequently, the term lead and leading have become associated with the filer. When applied, proportionally solder bonds very well to sheet metal and will not creak, peel, or flake. Additionally, a limited amount of hammer and dolly work can be performed after the solder has been applied. Precautions should be taken when using any compound that contains lead to prevent inhaling smoke and something from lead-based products. Always wear an approved resistor when working with these materials. Okay, ito yung ating solder filling in a slow, expensive process that requires considerable skill. Although solder is no longer used by automotive manufacturers, it is still preferred by some auto personnel. So restoring classic automotive. So this is the template to use in cutting abrasive discs to be used on rough surfaces. The dimension is 5 by 1/2 inch for 7 inch and 7 inch for 9 inch discs. Okay. So filing dents with solder. After cleaning the area to be soldered, brush a thin glaze soldered paste, mixture of acid that contains flux in the area. Use a heavily carburizing oxygen flame to heat the base metal and face black. This process is called tinning. Tinning is the solder adhere to the base metal. If necessary, an acid-based solder can be used instead of soldering paste. Solder. Ito naman yung paggamit ng plastic filer. So, it replaced the lead in use. So, using acid core solder, turn the torch to thin an area before filing with solder. Okay, ito naman yung a clean cloth or steel wool can be used to spread solder over the surface being cleaned. Okay, so correction lang para tayo clear. So, pag sinabi natin spot patties and glazing patties, ito yung ating mga pangmasilya. Yung body filer naman, yun yung filling spot surfaces using solder or plastic filer. Okay po, yun yung correction. May mali, yun hindi ko na-distinguish ng ayos kanina. Okay po? Naintindihan? Hello po? Sorry, So, I will show a video presentations again on how to use body filer. Post ko ulit ang recording. Okay, for the purpose of recording, balikan lang natin Sabi natin, commonly, wala yun. Hirap. Commonly, we apply, as you can see the figure, it's shown yung ating, for the purpose of recording lang binalikan ko lang. The technician is, hirap. The technician is dispensing body filer from a bag into a plastic mixing board, and then dito, you will follow the manufacturer's instructions and mix only enough body filer to establish the original surface contour. So sa atin, commonly, naghahalo tayo ng hardener para natin yung tamang tigas. So sa Pilipinas, ang common na glazing putty na ginagamit is yung color white, and then yung hardener yung color red. And then, as you can see in figure 8-9, this technician is mixing body filer on polyethylene covered board. Okay, followed, this is the body filer is commonly applied to the plastic spreader. Okay, on figure 8-11, it is the sulfone file which is used to remove partially cured filer. So, sabi natin, after 5 to 10 minutes, sinasand uli natin siya. Tinitingnan ko pantay yung application. Next is repairing rusted areas. On repairing rusted areas, unfortunately, automobiles do not last forever. So even with the most aggressive anti-rust treatments, of course, it is metal. Metal is constantly attacked by corrosive elements. So syempre, they are exposed to a weather, syempre, nauulanan, naaarawan. So syempre, bakal pa rin naman siya. May tendency pa rin na siya ay kalawangin. In that case, when oxygen, water, and corrosive chemicals such as salt combined with steel, rust iron oxide is formed. So moisture and mud often get stuck in confined areas and spaces between fenders and inner panels or spots where accessories are attached, which is the mirrors, brackets, trim moldings are potential problem areas. As drain plugs in rocker panels, doors in other areas become clogged, dirt and moisture collect. So keeps the metal wet and promotes corrosion. So corrosion destroys more vehicles each year than accidents. Kaya nga, hindi ko matouch. Next. So in recent years, vehicle manufacturers have made significant advances in the fight against rust. The use of galvanized steel under coatings, sink-rich primers, anti-corrosion coatings, and various sealants has increased dramatically. So, a cathodic electrodeposition coating process known as the E-coat produces a top epoxy primer. Kaya ngayon, medyo matagal-tagal bago talaga kalawangin ang mga body ng sasakyan kasi meron na tayong tinatawag na E-coat. So the new and better anti-corrosion materials are placed on the market each year. So yan, habang tumatagal naman, kitang-kita nyo na mas tumatagal yung resistance ng body for corrosion. So additionally, plastics and other resistant materials have been used in the manufacture for automobile. So many of the moldings used on today's vehicles are touched with adhesives rather than metal clips. So clips generally require holes for attachments, and these holes create potential spots for rust or oxidation. Very few parts on late models are without some form of zinc protection. So, madalang na daw yung mga ngayon na wala ng zinc protection. So, to prevent rust, many interior surfaces are coated with zinc-rich coatings and most joints are sealed. So, zinc helps protect steel by sealing it from corrosive elements in the environment. Okay, so when zinc coatings are applied, the zinc rather than the steel is attacked by the corrosive elements, which is sacrificial corrosion. So zinc-rich coatings also protect metals from galvanic electrochemical action, and galvanic action occurs when the similar metals contact each other. So this contact causes corrosion to form between the metals. Okay, next. For example, when steel bolts are used to cure an aluminum panel, corrosion will occur between the bolts and the panel. So sabi natin, wait lang ah. Wait lang. Sabi natin, when steel bolts are used to clear aluminum panel, will occur between the bolts and the panel. So unless the materials are given a protective coat, there will be a degradation of both the passenger and the surrounding panel. So there are two basic types of rust damage commonly encountered in the body shop. So yung tinatawag nating outside surface rust and inside rust out. Okay, so it's either inside or outside lang. So when we say outside surface rust, it begins from the outside of the panel. So usually, halimbawa yung nagkaroon ng scratches, it is usually start in areas where paint is chipped and scratch, yun nga, sinasabi ko, halimbawa nagasgasan, or where moldings and accessories are attached. Surface rust is more easily detected and repaired, and the rust that begins on the inside of panel, as shown in figure 8-12. Okay, nasaan? Yan. Halimbawa, the surface rust resulted from scratches in the surface of the food. So kapag ka nagkaroon ng gas-gas, yan, dyan nag-umpisa ang kalawang. So surface rust is more easily detected and repaired. So there are several methods used to remove surface rust. So of course, we use chemical rust removers and metal conditioners, deep clean and etch metal, and sanding or establishing sanding or blasting rusted before to bear is also common. So this method will reveal weak spots in the metal. So when auto bodies are stripped to bare metal, rust will form quickly. In order to prevent the formation of this rust, the metal should be chemically cleaned and immediately primed. So metal conditioners, which is the activating agents, and rust inhibitors can be applied before priming to help neutralize rust and provide better adhesion of primer. Yang iba naglalagay muna ng, 'di ba yung sa mga bakod, ano ginagawa? Sabi na nila lason muna, ano? So metal conditioner muna and rust inhibitors. So rust inhibitors are sometimes called conversion coatings. So these inhibitors will form a zinc phosphate coating that chemically bonds metal. The second one is the inside rust out. So yung rust out occurs when rust is allowed to eat through a metal panel. As shown in figure 8-13, ito, the panel has rust out. Ibig sabihin, yung kalawang ay nagmula sa loob ng body. So, rust out progresses from the inside of panel and often goes undetected unless it penetrates the outside surface. This condition is more dangerous. Ano? So, ito naman yung figure 8-14, resin and glass reinforcing materials which are commonly sold in kits. Costly to repair than outside surface rust. Kasi pagka inside rust, malaman mo lang gato na. Ano? So it is always best to remove panels or doors with inside rust out. So this will provide better access, diagnosis, and treatment of the damaged area. So depending on the extent of the damage, several producers can be utilized to repair rust out areas including replacement yun. Kasi pagka na ano mo na rust out, inside rust out, minsan gato na. Ano? Ano pa? Replacement, cutting and patching, yun. And the use of fiberglass mat, or foam fillers. Fiberglass repair kits are available on rust out areas. Ito. Next, we have replacement. Yung sinasabi natin kanina, if panels components are severely rusted, so hindi mo na siya mare-repair. Instead, kailangan mo na siyang i-cut and then palitan ng parts. If panels or components are severely rusted, new parts may be needed. So in some cases, replacement skins can be purchased and placed over a damaged panel. Before installing a new skin, always remove as much of the rusted area as possible and treat the remaining material with metal conditioner and rust inhibitor. Undercoat the inside of the replacement metal and place it in a proper alignment. So after the replacement panel is welded in place and joints are ground down, the panel should be sanded and primed again. Paulit-ulit lang. Ganun na ano. Putol, dugtong, sanded, primed. Yan. Ano. Undercoating should then be applied to the inside of the repair to retard the recurrence of rust. Next, kung hindi applicable ang replacement, ang sunod ay cut and patch. Okay? Putol at patcha. Okay? So when we say cut and patch, if rust is limited to one section of a panel, the rusted area can be removed and replaced with a metal patch. So kung maliit lang naman daw, di pwedeng putulin tapos patsahan. Sa pantalon, ano yung ito ginagawa? Di ba ginagawa to sa pantalon? Anong ginagawa sa pantalon? Di ba nilalagyan ng, ano bang tawag doon? Yung ginugupit na tela. Tapos sinatahian, patsa nga. Patsa ba yun? So if a rust is limited to one section, the rusted area can be removed and replaced with a metal patch. The area around the damage should be sanded to bare metal and the rusted section should be cut back to solid metal. Okay, ganun pa rin. Iga-grind and then papantayin ulit. Okay, a sheet metal patch is placed over the cut section and welded in place with the MIG welder. After welding, the welded joints are ground smooth. So you will body filer again, metal or plastic, which can be used to complete the finished contour of the patch. Okay? Next, we have the fiberglass filer. So kapag ka rust out minor, so you will apply the epoxy fiberglass, which is used to repair the damage. Okay, ito naman, fiberglass mat or patch naman yung isa, as shown in figure 8-15. You will, prior to the application of fiberglass cloth, the damaged area is sanded and warmed with heat lamps. In figure 8-16, fiberglass cloth is cut to size before being applied to the rusted area. Next, we have the foam filers. Okay. 8-17 to naman yung before applying fiberglass patches, they are saturated with epoxy resin and hardener. Then next, napaspasan natin, applying the fiberglass patches to the rusted area. Okay, so we can use also fiberglass patching. Next, we have foam filer. Two types of foam filers can be used to repair rust out. We have the syntactic foams, which are resin and catalyst systems that contain small glass or plastic spheres. So these foams are used to fill rusted areas in door seals and rocker panels. Because of the large number of spheres, these putty-like materials have good compressive strength. The second type of foam filer is also known as two-part resin system. So this filer is available in small kits. So in figure 8-19 as shown, we are using heat lamps which can be used to speed drying time. So sa atin, ang tawag mga infrared dryers. After the patch has dried, it can be sanded and painted in the usual manner. Okay, next, restoring corrosion protection. So sabi dyan, there have been considerable gains in the durability and quality of automobile bodies in the recent years. So some of these gains can be attributed to better design and the use of anti-corrosion resistant materials and the application of corrosion protection products. So as you can see, ito yung ating layers. We have the post-paint coating treatment. We have the cationic electro deposition primer, and we have the body panel. So ilang layer yan? Isa, dalawa, dalawa. Dalawa sa loob, dalawa sa labas. So many primers provide excellent corrosion protection. Note that both sides of these body panels are coated with a cationic electro deposition primer and post-paint treatment. So many decorative parts such as moldings and nameplates are simply attached by adhesives. So aluminum, plastic, and bimetal parts are also used, and rich reprimers are often applied in areas where corrosion is mostly likely to occur. So the entire body is generally coated with corrosion-resistant primer as shown in figure 8-20. So this can be accomplished by spraying the primer into the body or by submerging the body in the tank of the solution. So many joints are coated with sealants and exposed surfaces which are coated with wax or petroleum-based compound. So these compounds help to prevent corrosion, seal, and lead sound. In automotive service field, auto dealers and specialists are offering corrosion protection, which is rust-proofing, undercoating, and sound deadening and upholstery and paint protection devices. Ayan. Meron tayong roof, floor panel, hood ledge assembly, pillar door opening, roof side panel, rear door, hood, yan, door. So may mga typical body sealer locations tayo. May mga sealers na tayo ngayon. That's why yung sounds coming outside and sounds coming inside ay hindi masyadong nadidinig. Ano? May mga sealers na kasi. Okay po? Questions? Next. Okay, so yan. This technician is using special equipment to apply rust proofing and sound deadening material to the interior of a door. Okay, so we also have the self-etching primers, which are used in areas away from welded points. So these welded primers contain an agent that bites into the metal to improve adhesion. So two-component epoxy primers offer super adhesion and protection. So, yung mga panlaban nga natin, so sink-rich weld-through primers should be applied to all joints before welding. So, these primers help prevent galvanic corrosion in the joints. So, because of the wide variety of anti-corrosion component, body sealers, anti-rust agents, and other metal treatment products available, it is essential to carefully follow the manufacturer's instruction for application or use. And then plastic filers nowadays have replaced lead solder in most body shops, and both polyester and epoxy resin based filers are used. So these filers require the use of chemical hardener, and plastic filers nowadays should have been used in areas where flexing may occur or when strength is required. So when oxygen, water, and corrosion chemicals combine with steel, rust is formed, and there are two basic types of rust damage: outside rust and inside rust out. So as the name implies, outside surface, rust begins on the outside panel, and this type of rust is most easily detected and repaired than rust begins with inside panel. Okay? So, summary na pala yun. Okay, so that ends our chapter for sheet metal repair and body filer discussions. So later on, I will upload the recording of our today's lessons, and then we will continue our discussions for simplified plastic repairs for the next meeting. So I will pause or stop the recording